So here's a brief tour of my mobile prototyping lab. Here's my nice carrying case. Genuine imitation Naugahyde. Got a lazy bar with wheels for people who don't like carrying heavy things. Of course, back here we have our file folders for paperwork and a sketchbook so that I can draw schematics. And then this nice handy dandy transistor color code chart. And every sketchbook needs a really nice pen. And that's it for this pocket. Any further documentation that I have, pretty soon I'm going to have printed schematic plans and printed PC board plans with laser printing so that I can do some board etching. And then in the front we have all of our tools. We have wire cutters, we have a soldering iron, we have tweezers for working with real small breadboards, Sharpie, ink pen laser pointer because lasers are fun, and various tools like pliers, solder, electrical tape, and a soldering iron stand. And then, of course, the ever important voltmeter or multimeter with test leads, and some little precision screwdrivers. And for the nuts and bolts of the inside, we have a couple component boxes. I'll go over what's inside the component boxes in a second. And here we have just an empty box for other stuff that I feel like adding. We have our Raspberry Pi. A Raspberry Pi computer doesn't come with a case, so I've got this plastic hobby box that I store it in. It just has a board and no monitor or keyboard, so I made this wire harness for the keyboard. And monitor and USB port. So there's the Pi and USB port monitor. We'll plug it in here, boot it up. So it should start loading up, running into our Raspberry Pi load. Probably really hard to see, especially with this camera. And then I have a little wireless keyboard with track, and here's the Wi-Fi for the wireless adapter for the keyboard. And then I have expansion ports for other zip drives or my Wi-Fi, so that I can download sketches off my Ubuntu One account. Let's go ahead and boot up the Windows, or Wheezy as it is. Alright, while that's loading, we can look at these boxes. So this is my main component box. I have my Arduino, some breadboards, different switches and sensors. These are all my potentiometers, LEDs. These are my power supplies, my 9-volt that convert down to this one will do several voltages. It'll go up to, I think, 47, maybe 32 volts in, and then it'll go down to 1.5 volts out. adjustable. And then this is the one I built with my homemade circuit board. I had to fix a couple traces that didn't come out too well. And then this one will go using a 9-volt battery in. You can use this potentiometer to adjust it from 1.5 to 7.5 volts. And then I have a couple servos, scavenged motors. These are my pre-made jumpers, and then I have spools of wire to make smaller jumpers. And then this is some little robot parts that I have, resistors, and a relay module for the Arduino. And then in the other box, I have basically mostly found components, things that I've scavenged out of other electronics. I have some joystick variable resistors, and I have a whole slew of RCA plugs that I've reclaimed. There is a whole bunch of transistors which I have yet to value, but there's a slew of them in there. A crap load of capacitors. Here's some more other smaller capacitors. A couple big monster capacitors. This is actually a motor control board with a rechargeable battery out of a Execu Heli, and hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to work that into a different project. And then power connectors. These are components I've set aside to make a Boarduino whenever I get an Atmega chip. And some LCD screens, a couple big coil packs, transformers, some coils, ribbon cables that I've reclaimed, random switches that I've reclaimed, some terminal blocks. There's another voltage regulator. I may build another power supply with that. I'm not sure yet. Well, that's that. Here's my Raspberry Pi all booted up, and then we can I guess if I turn the keyboard on, it'll help. We can go down and open up Arduino. And you can see it's not a super big processor on this little computer, so the status bar is pegged out. But Arduino will open, and then when it does, it's kind of speedy quick sauce. It's hard to do one hand. So there's the Arduino IDE, and then I can go in and just open up a sketch. And it'll eventually pop up the code for that sketch, which can't really make out. Again, this is a small screen. And then, you know, I can edit the code and then upload to board with the upload button, or compile first and then upload, unless, you know, it's a proven sketch. And then I can plug my Arduino into one of my USB ports and upload. And there you have it, my tour of my mobile prototyping lab. Now it's time to build something.